So I want to talk about my book haul today, and I'm going to talk about the books I got, why I got them, where I got them, and a little bit about that. So let's start off with the first book I got, which is from my local library. It is called Older Brother by Mihir Guven. It is an award-winning book by Mihir Guven, who was a child of basically refugees who grew up in France, and it's about a French Syrian Christian family, and it's kind of about the two brothers who take very different paths in life, and it's an understanding of that very difference in family when it comes to politics and the things that shape them, that shape siblings and make them different. I think it looked very interesting. It's the kind of thing I like to read in my fiction books. It's got a political undertone to it, but also it is about family dynamics and it's about the difference between these two different brothers. And I'm actually really looking forward to reading this one. I've already started it, as you can tell. The next book I'm going to talk about is from Housmans. Housmans is a bookshop in King's Cross, London. It is well known for its very political background to it, especially when it came to now selling like revolutionary text, selling texts that you usually don't find in other bookshops, and also their work for LGBTQ plus communities in the UK. They are very famous for that in particular, and they even to this day continue to have a very large voice, especially in London, about the LGBTQ plus community and supporting them, which I think is amazing. And again, it's a very cool bookshop, and you're going to find a lot of stuff in there where you generally won't find in other shops. One of the books I got from there was Ralph Miliband's The State in Capitalist Society. Ralph Miliband, obviously very famous British political figurehead, very famous political activist. And it was interesting. I've never read anything by Ralph Miliband, and I'm a big fan of his son, I'll be honest. So I think I'm going to enjoy this one. Again, it's a non-fiction book. I got this from their discount section, so it was about £3. They used to have a big section, which was all the books were £1. Then cost of living crisis hit them hard as well, so they're now £3. So I do like getting my books slightly cheaper and second-hand, but £3 is still pretty good, but it probably might have been £1 before. The second book I got from Housmans is The Motorcycle Diaries by Che Guevara. It's Che Guevara's writings as he travelled around South America by motorcycle, obviously, because it's the motorcycle.
Are you sure about that?
Again, I actually picked this one up after watching a TikTok video about Che Guevara. I know some about Che Guevara. I read a little bit about him, but most of my knowledge about Cuba comes from being about Fidel Castro. So I thought, let's read a little bit more about Che Guevara, actually his own writings. I know a lot of people have some controversial ideas about Che Guevara, and I actually wanted to read what he wrote here. I know some of the stuff he wrote here isn't actually great in all, but I know his opinions maybe evolved over time. This was actually full price. It's a penguin, like light green back, turquoise. I don't know what colour this is. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. So got this from Housmans. It was full price. So again, if you want to get slightly cheaper books, they do have most of the upstairs section is all full price books, which books are expensive. £10 for a book is actually a lot of money, and it's the most expensive book I actually got today. So we'll move on to books that aren't that. So now I'm looking at the books from another bookshop I went to. It's called Skoob. It's in the Brunswick Centre, or near the Brunswick Centre in London, really close to Russell Square station. I've never been there before, and I was just like, cheap bookshops in London, and I went. So the first book I got from there, well, I kind of picked them up at the same time. So let's go with the bigger one, I think, is Capitalism versus Freedom, which is meant to be a very interesting book about how we perceive capitalism and how we've been told that capitalism means freedom, where in actuality, and a lot of people, are going to hate me for this in the comment section, especially my regular viewers, it's not really the case, and it's going to be interesting. The gentleman who sold me this book was like, whoa, do you know about this book already? He said, no, I saw it on your bookshelf and I thought I'd pick it up. And he's like, oh yeah, cool, because no one else has done that and we were hoping someone would because it looked interesting. I was like, well, I'm your man. The way pricing works in Skoob books is generally the full pricing on the back, it's half of that unless otherwise. So on this, it says it's £15 full price, which is actually really expensive for a book, but it's more kind of like a textbook type deal, and also looks like it's an independent publisher or a smaller publisher. So the way they do it is generally the prices are half of the prices that you see on the back of the book. So this is 15, I paid £7.50 for it. So slightly more expensive. I was looking to get books for about £5 or slightly less today, but I saw this and was like, okay, I'm going to pick this up. But yeah, the books generally, if you're getting them for about half the price listed, and they're usually written on the inside of the book. Interesting, there's another book that I picked up and I put it down. It was a manuscript written by Lenin and published in 1971 in the USSR. I picked it up and I was like, I'm going to come back to this. So I put it back on the shelf. I left and I bought these two books. I'm like, I forgot to get that, and I was halfway home already, and I'm like, if I'm ever there and it's still there when I go, I'm going to pick that up, because it was, it's history. It was printed about 51 years ago in the USSR. I don't think I have anything like that on my bookshelf here or at my parents' place. So that's a tangent. It's what I call a tangent. The final book I got, again, I wish I'd gotten that manuscript. The final book is, I'm holding it in the wrong hand, Noam Chomsky's American Power and the New Mandarin. So published in 1968, I believe. It is Noam Chomsky, obviously world-renowned Noam Chomsky. I think I have got other videos by Chomsky. Click up here if I have. So this book is about his thoughts and opposition to the Vietnam War. It was in their politics section, but they also had a section about Vietnam. I'll be honest, when it comes to Skoob books, finding books like this where it is opposite to mainstream thinking, opposite to neoliberal or right-wing thinking, was a bit difficult, especially when I was looking for books in the sections of non-Western countries. So I went to the China section, the India section, the Asia section, the Africa section. A lot of the stuff there was written by Western academics, and was very clear by the type of books they had there that these books had a very much Western lens or Western bias, which is, I think, it was difficult because, I'll be honest, there's certain people I don't want to be reading about India or China or Pakistan or parts of Asia about. It's just, at the very least, I don't want their perspective. Their perspective is very clearly tainted. It's the perspective I've read all my life in school. So I went to a different perspective. Doesn't seem like something I would find in Skoob books. Again, it was the first time I went there, which was a bit of a shame. I was hoping, maybe they wouldn't be like Housmans, which has a very, left-wing bias to their books, or a lot of their books are very left-wing. I was hoping maybe Skoob books would, at the very least, have a balance where, okay, yes, there's going to be the traditional academics. You're going to see the very pro-British, pro-American academics you'll find. But there'll also be the ones that are pro the other countries, or the ones that are critical of the US and the UK. And I couldn't really find that being a good balance. I think it balanced a little bit more to being pro-America and pro, UK, especially that whole section on Winston Churchill. I don't want to get into that on this channel. But going back to this from Skoob books, it's Noam Chomsky, and it was interesting. It's about the Vietnam War and his how the US kind of intellectual class and the US university class kind of helped to justify the Vietnam War, which is interesting because you see in American politics at the moment where it's very much seems that the university class or people in universities are being demonized by certain sections of the population, when in actuality for the long part in the US the university class has been supportive of government action, especially foreign policy. But again, this isn't a politics channel, this is a book channel, and generally I'm not talking about politics books. I'm usually talking about the fiction books I read, but I just wanted to show you guys the books I got. And also the fact that I went to 2 different bookshops at my library today. So that's pretty fun. I'm going to try and discover more of the bookshops in London. As you probably have seen in this video, I took some photos. I didn't take photos inside the shops because I'm a little bit shy like that, and I don't want to be taking photos in a shop, especially like Skoob had quite a few people there because it's very close to a couple of universities, so I think there was a lot of students in there. I didn't want to take photos. Housmans didn't have as many people in there, but also, you know, I don't really want to take photos of them. So there's going to be photos of the outside already in this video, but if I can find photos of the inside on the interwebs, those will probably be interspersed throughout this video. It's a bit of a meta commentary on this video at the end of this video. But thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what you got in your last book haul, or if you've read any of the books I picked up. You know, maybe Older Brother, maybe be the first one to comment on, because I generally talk about fiction here. But let me know in the comments down below. Remember to like, subscribe, share the video, and hey, I hope you read a great book today.